It's done it again. It started and I wasn't ready. Excuse me while I just prepare myself. Good morning and welcome to episode 113 of the Mouses Make Knitting podcast. My name is Mandy, sometimes known as Mouse. See, I'm not ready. In a little basket. Oh, is Miss Poppy. She is fast asleep. This is her nighttime sleeping, really. So, oh, my t-shirt's all... Basically, you can have the top of my head or you can have Poppy. I'm guessing you'll want Poppy, so we'll just forget about the top of my head. I'm caught... And breathe. I'm recording episode 113 on the 31st of October, which is, of course, Halloween. So I had been going to wear my Halloween sweater that I knit last year with the skulls on, but then I thought about it, and A, I'm very warm, and B, by the time you see this, it will be at the very least the 1st of November, because this will go up tomorrow. So Halloween will have been and gone, and it will be all out of context then, won't it? So I didn't bother and wear it. This is going to be a bit of a jump about the place podcast. I have got a finished object. I don't have a great deal of other knitting because MCAL. I have some things that I've bought and have been bought, and something I won. There will be a shop update at the end, the very, very end, so that if you're not interested in that, you don't have to watch it. And there will be a bit of a thank you. Right, where shall we start? Shall we start in traditional fashion with the finished object? It's kind of objects, really. It is a pair of mitts. I knit the first one of these in about a day, and then I hung around for ages not casting on the second one for no particular reason. And then I knit the second one in about a day. They look bigger than the other. One hand looks bigger than the other. How can I? Like that. Okay. These are, and I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar with the pattern, these are the Pioneer mitts by Kelly McClure. They have this interesting thumb gusset, and they probably fit the best of any mitts I have ever knit. So I am quite liable to be knitting some more. They are, I mean, they look ridiculous when they're not on your hand because they're ribbed. But on your hand, because they're ribbed, they snug up round your wrist. I mean, I've got my watch on. How often can you put your mitts on over a watch and not have it be uncomfortable? So I will almost certainly, I'm taking them off, I'm melting. Be knitting some more of these. The yarn I knit them in, I got in a de-stash from Ange at Yarn and Yarns. And it is this one. I have got a lot left. I haven't weighed it, but I'll do that in a minute. These, it's called the Yarn Tree, and the colourway is 11th Interior, which I think is a Stranger Things reference, but I don't know for certain. Let me see, where is my scale? I've got quite a bit to show you, so there's stuff piled everywhere. Let me measure. There's 3 sizes, and I made the medium, which obviously is the middle size. Let me take off the stitch markers, because obviously they weigh something, don't they? It was 100 gram skein, and I have got just over 65 grams left. So they used about 35 grams for the medium size. That's not bad at all. I will definitely make some more of these. And I have plans for this, possibly. It's going to be in a colourwork something. Possibly a cowl. Maybe some mittens with, you know, proper mittens other than not fingerless Well, they're not, mittens don't have fingers. I think you know where I'm going with this, and I'm going to stop talking because I'm just confusing myself now. That's my finished object. Let me consult my notes. My notes are all over the place. Right, last time I saw you, I had literally just had a birthday. And for my birthday, Ewan, my lovely Ewan, bought me a Wool Warehouse voucher. And I bought a few things. But I bought specifically this yarn, which says it's lace weight. It's Stylecraft Charm. And to be honest, this was the only colour that attracted my attention. That's coming out pretty true to life. It's a little bit more yellowed, a little bit more green than that. It says it's a lace weight, but I would say it's more like a fingering. It's certainly not like a mohair lace weight. There's quite a bit to it. And in fact, the needles it recommends are 3.5 to 5mm. It's 85% acrylic, 10% wool and 5% mohair. So I just got the one ball, and in very unlike me fashion, I bought the pattern that is for the yarn. Generally, I don't bother with that sort of thing. And I'm going to knit this, which is the second pattern. The sleeve, long sleeve jumper is the main pattern, but for my size, for this you needed 2 balls. For the sleeveless you just needed 1 ball, and I didn't really want to buy a whole nother ball just to put some sleeves on it. So I thought I'll make I don't know what you call this, a vest. In my generation, back in the 70s, this was a tank top, but it's called all sorts of different things now. And a tank top in America, I think, is what we call a vest. And what you call a vest, we call a waistcoat. It's all very confusing. So anyway, that's what I'm going to make with it, whatever it's called. I wonder what the pattern calls it. Pattern calls it a tank top. There you are. Definitively from Stylecraft, that is a tank top. And I'm going to make that because I wear a lot of long sleeve tees in the winter and dresses that have long sleeves, and I can just throw that on over the top and it's a warm layer. This colour, these colours, are some of my favourite jewel tones. I know I'm saying again, these are my favourite colours, and we all know they're all my favourite colours. But I return repeatedly to that sort of peacocky teals, blues, greens. Completely aside to anything. When I was a child, my aunt and uncle, I mean we're talking late 60s, early 70s, had a 3-piece suite in their living room that was that colour, and I loved it beyond any other piece of furniture ever in my whole life. And when I grew up and got married, they were getting rid of that 3-piece suite, which by then was very old. It was about 30 years old when I got it. And I had it for probably another 20 years. So yeah, that is one of my favourite colours, and a bizarre story to go with it for you. So that was one of my presents from you, and I did buy other things, but I bought odds and ends and some sock wool and stuff that you'll see when I get round to it. I also have a Hobbycraft shop store card thing, loyalty card, that's the word, loyalty card, and they send you a £5 voucher for your birthday month. So we had a trip to Hobbycraft and I bought this, which is now not coming out the right colour. This is very much closer to the ball I just showed you than blue. So this is very tealy. And then there's this lovely sort of, I don't know, sagey, olivey green. And then this terracotta peachy colour. These are not colours that I would generally gravitate towards, but they had 3 colourways in this yarn. It's the James C. Brett double knitting, which I am a little bit obsessed by at the moment. I've got a cardigan that I'm making in, I think, 09. I've got a sweater, a tee that I'm going to show you in a minute that I'm knitting in 01, and this is 02, SH02. So I bought 2 balls of this. I had a £5 voucher and I think they were £4 a ball. So 2 of them essentially only cost me £3. I think 2 is enough to get a tea out of. I will show you why in a minute. So that's what I've been buying. I also won a prize. I feel like I'm rushing through this a little bit, but I've got to go out shortly with Ewan. The Wool and Wishes girls, the Wool and Wishes podcast, had a hands and feet make along that ran for most of the summer, I think. Finished at the end of September, and I won a pattern prize from one of my favourite sock designers, Nancy Wheeler. So they said, go and choose a pattern and let us know what it is. Well, it was a bit difficult because I've got most of them, but I didn't have this one, so I've chosen this one, which I'm afraid is printed in black and white. Smoke Gets in Your Eyes by Nancy Wheeler, and if you can see, it's a textured sock. So I'm planning on casting these on soon. The 3 pairs of socks that I have on the needles for Halloween, bearing in mind today is Halloween, are not going to be finished in time. None of them. And you would have thought just 1 pair, but no, none of them. So they will get finished as and when. That will get cast on as and when, possibly as part of my advent knitting. I have not decided yet. But I've been a bit obsessed with the MCAL. Before I show you that though, I'm going to show you my tee that I'm knitting in the James C. Brett. You've seen this before. I think I showed it to you. Yes, I did. I showed it to you last time. It's the Saltmarsh Cove tee. And the pattern is printed from back when there was ink in the printer. This is it. It's by Fogbound Knits, and unfortunately what you can't see in the picture is the detail on the side of the body, but I will show you that momentarily. Oh, put that down there. So I'm knitting this in, as I said, the James C. Brett 01 colourway. It's fantastically bright. Last time you saw it, I was there. Since then, I have split for the sleeves. Oh, now the phone's ringing. There's no one to answer it. It'll have to ring. I've split for the sleeves and I've done a little bit of the body. And this is the detail on the body. So below the sleeve, running from the armpit, I suppose, there is a garter stitch panel that runs all the way down to the hem. It just makes it, it's on both sides, it just makes it a little bit more than stocking stitch. So it just gives you a little bit of interest, but at the same time you don't have to really concentrate on what you're doing. So this has got neglected for the MCAL, but I will be back to this very shortly. You can't really get too good an idea of what it's going to look like because I've got it on quite a short needle. Needles are in short supply, which you will know if you've been here a while because I have got like a million things cast on. More about that after Christmas. Something exciting is happening after Christmas that I shall tell you about nearer the time. So I've Very, very happy with this. This is like sunshine knitting. You can see how bright the colours are. I dare say some of you are sitting there like this. But I love it. And I'm going to wear it, not you. So, sorry. You'll have to live through seeing it every time I finish a bit more. And you'll have to live through seeing me in it when I finish it completely. But other than that, you don't need to worry about it if you don't like it. The wool, the yarn, it's 100% acrylic, I think. I haven't got the ball band on that one. Where's this one? Let's look at this one, because it could be the same. %80 acrylic, 20% wool. But it's so very, very light that I've almost used a whole ball and it's still in this small bag. So, loving that too. As bags are at a bit scarce at the moment too. They're all full of things. I want to make myself some Christmas bags before the end of November so that I can put my advent knitting in them. Every year I buy material to make a Christmas bag, and every year I fail to make that Christmas bag, and the material is all sitting in a box. So I've probably got enough there to make certainly 4. I just need to get on with it. But I prefer to knit than sew, and Saturdays used to be my sewing day and now they're a yarn dyeing day, so that's my excuse. It's a poor one, but it's the only one I've got. Yes, so back to the yarn. It's very, very light. There's 100 grams and I think there's 550 metres in 100 grams. Yeah, 550 metres or 601 yards. So it is a very light yarn. Okay, what shall I tell you about next? The other thing I got for my birthday, where have I put it? I put it somewhere safe. It's not there. Is it in there? Damn it, Mandy, you and your safe places. Bear with me while I go on a small hunt. Found them. And they were where I looked first of all. I just didn't look properly. My friend Caroline from the Aria Bark podcast has opened a Ko-fi shop where she is selling beaded stitch markers. And for my birthday, she sent me some beaded stitch markers. So she sent me these two. And they are Malcolm Reynolds, Captain of the Firefly, Serenity, and Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead. 2 of my screen husbands. Birthday cake, which has got a bit stuck, hang on. 3 slices of calorie-free birthday cake that look really, really good. And also, on her Ko-fi shop, Caroline offers memberships, and at my level, one of the membership perks is entry into a draw to win stitch markers each month. And I won it, and she asked me to have a look in the shop and see what stitch marker I would like, and I knew without looking, because I'd already looked and decided what the first one I was going to buy was, and I asked for Christmas ones, and so she sent me these Christmas baubles. So I'm going to try and link her shop below. If not, go and have a look at her podcast. I will link that below. That's Caroline. Some of you already watch her, I think. And you'll find the Ko-fi shop linked underneath her podcast if I can't do it. They are amazing. I don't know how she does it. I have no patience for fiddly things. I could not in a million years have made one of those. So Thank you, Caroline. They're very much appreciated. And now that I've saved them in the ultra safe place, I can start using them. Okay, what else do I need to tell you about? Shown you the new yarns. MCAL. I am going to show this. I'm on to clue 4. I am going to show it because I think clue 4, by the time you see this, will have come out a week ago. And if you haven't seen it somewhere, then, and you don't want to see it, then you just need to close your eyes. Because I'm going to show you everything I've got so far. In a bit of a squashed up, crumpled way, because again, it's on quite a short needle. So, here it is. If you don't want to see, close your eyes now and I will tell you when it is safe to open them. So if I go through it in order, this was clue 1. Oh, and those colours are coming out much better today. They looked pale blues, but they are turquoise, teal and petrol, and this is purple. The first 3 are my own hand dyed. This is Cascade Heritage in dark plum. That was clue 1. Clue 2 were these eyelet and reverse stocking stitch rows. Then came clue 3. Now, a lot of my friends are complaining about clue 3. They're finding it tedious. It actually came at the perfect time for me. I've had a very, very stressful couple of weeks. A very close relative is poorly with a type of blood cancer, and it has progressed far more quickly than anybody expected it to, and so they're facing having bone marrow transplants after Christmas. And I had hoped to be the donor, but because of what's been going on with my health, I can't be. So all those things are stressful. I got the results of the ultrasound scan I had of my heart. That was all a bit stressful and depressing. So clue 3 came at the absolute perfect time for me. This is clue 3. And for me, it was repetitive and almost meditative. I had to concentrate on what I was doing. I had to count constantly, which I think is what's annoying other people, the fact that you've got to count every single row. But it was perfect because it shut my mind off worrying about anything else. So I very much enjoyed clue 3. I've enjoyed every stitch of it really so far. But now I'm on to clue 4. And this is clue 4. Now you might notice there are some different colours in there. I wanted to make as large a border as possible, and on this shawl Stephen gives you 4 points where you can finish. Normally on a Stephen West shawl, if you're not familiar with them, you can finish here early for a shorter version, or you can go to the end. So there's 2 points where you can finish. This one has 4. So I could have finished it there and just had a very narrow border and then an I-cord. And then I think I could have finished it there. It might have been there. But I've chosen to go on for another 9 rows. I could go on for another 12 rows after that, but I don't think I've got enough yarn. As it is, as you might have noticed, I've had to substitute some yarn. This one is pale blue. It probably looks grey, but it is a very pale blue. That's Scapia's Invicta Extra in 1605 that I got from a D-stash on eBay 2-3 years ago. It was a while ago. And I have not got much of that left. This was a 50-gram ball and I've got that much left, which I'm guessing is probably less than 20 grams. I didn't have enough of any of my original 4 colours to do the border at all. Even if I, because I'd finished the original Clue one, even if I pulled that all down, there wasn't enough. I don't know if my tension is a little bit loose, but the amount of yarn that I'm using for each repeat meant that I couldn't do it in the original yarn. So I had a sort through stash, fished out the scapias, and also this colour. This is another one that I dyed up, and originally it was going to go in. Oh, that's coming. That's very dark. It's not that dark. This is like a kingfisher blue, but it looks more sort of cobalt there. But it is a lot brighter than it's showing. No, I can't really. Yeah, as I say, I originally dyed that up to be the darkest colour, but it had the wrong tone. I know. But if you see it against the 3, I think I was right in putting the purple in. But the border I'm sort of treating as a separate, because it goes in a different direction to everything else. I'm treating it a bit like a separate entity. Let me find you a... There we go. If I do that, you might be able to see a bit better. No. It's getting quite large now. It's a little bit hard to show you. So the border, the first colour there, that is the turquoise from the rest of the shawl. Then the next one, the teal, that is an opal sock yarn, and I can't remember what colour it is, but it's almost exactly the same as the colour I dyed up. It's just that the colour I dyed up is variegated and that's solid. So then I put in the pale blue of the scapias, the peacock that I dyed up, gone back to the pale blue, back to the teal, and then the next repeat will be in purple, and then I'm going to bind off, I think, where is it, in this colour, which was the second one in the shawl. Still undecided as to whether or not there's going to be a fringe. I have got enough yarn to put a fringe on, and I could mix the colours in each little tassel or do separate tassels of separate colours. I don't know if I want them, because as you can see, it's now quite large. I'm hoping you can see. I can't see you. So it's quite deep. I don't know that I'm going to want tassels as well. We'll see. Tassels are very 70s, which is the design inspiration for the shawl, so I may do them. Also, fiddly, and as we've just discussed, I have no patience for fiddly, so I don't know. I'm hoping to have this finished today, so that next time you see me it will be all blocked and lovely and ready to go. Right, if you didn't want to see, you can now open your eyes. I am putting it away. As I say, I have enjoyed every single stitch. I'm going to be very sad to finish it. I would have liked to have gone the full width of the border, but I just don't have enough yarn. And I've pulled sort of everything that I think will go already, so I don't want to get involved in trying to dye up more that will match, because I'll never manage it. So, having enjoyed that so much, I sat last night and I was knitting it and I was thinking, I'm really enjoying this. I'm going to be really sad when this finishes. And my plan had been to use November to get through the rest of my, or some of the rest of my things that are cast on and waiting for some attention. But then I had an idea. 2 years ago, the MCAL was shawlography. And this is my shawlography shawl. It was the first MCAL I did. I used Stylecraft Special 4-ply for it, in colours that I just had in stash. I think I bought the navy, but everything else I already had. So I just used what I had to see if I got on with it, whether I liked it, all the usual stuff. This gets used an awful lot because I use it like a excuse me, tickle in my throat. 2 seconds. I think I inhaled a fibre. I use it like a bed jacket, so probably doesn't get used every day, but it gets used a lot. I never wear it as a shawl or a scarf outside the bedroom though, or very rarely. So I've had an idea that I would like to knit this again, and I would like to knit it as a Christmas shawl, because every year I say I'm going to knit a Christmas sweater, and a bit like the project bags, every year I fail to knit that Christmas sweater. I have patterns and I have yarn, but I still have no sweater. So I've gone into my stash and I've hooked out some things. So Cascade Heritage, in that's coming quite orangey red. It's a much bluer red than that, and it's actually called Christmas Red. I did actually buy this for one of the aforementioned sweaters that I never got round to making. So that one. Things are trying to escape me. This is another Cascade Heritage. This is Snow. Red and white. Perfect Christmas colours. I need 5. So I have this. This looks black. It's called Night. It's another Cascade Heritage. And it looks black enough to be black. If you hold it against black, it does have a bit of a navy tinge to it. This originally started off in my litmus cowl, which I have pulled out because I was knitting it with some yarn that I'd been given for my birthday by Dave, and it wasn't figuring weight, and I thought I could handle it, but I couldn't, so I pulled it out. That'll get used in something else. So that's those 3. Then of course, let's turn that around so you can see the colour. Then of course you need a green. So this is Knit Pro Symphony Terra, and it is called Deep Emerald. Whoop. It's a bit brighter than it's showing there. A bit more like that. But I need a 5th colour. And I toyed with adding in another green, but I don't really want to because that's the perfect green. I don't want to add in another one. So, also from a D-stash, and at the No Excuses podcast had a D-stash, and I bagsied this, which is a charcoal grey. It's by Unbeliever-Wool. It says it's black, but it's kind of a charcoaly slipped into the language from my home planet then. It's kind of a charcoal grey. And it's the same 75-25 superwash merino and nylon as all the others. So that's what I'm going with. Red, green, white, black and a charcoal grey. And I think that would be lovely and Christmassy. The bonus is I know I can knit it in a month because it was an MCAL and I knit it in a month before. So even if I only do the clues one a week, as the original MCAL was, I can have that knitted before the beginning of December and then spend the whole of December wearing my Christmas shawl. So that's what I'm going to do. If I remember rightly, I had spare knitting time each week during that MCAL, so I will have time to work on other things, but that's going to be my main focus through November. I nearly said September then. I'm time travelling again, have you noticed? Right, now, before I do the shop bit, I want to do a thank you. Over the weekend, somehow, it turns out there are, well, 2001, last time I looked, people who are insane enough who want to sit and listen to me waffle on about my knitting, for which I am very, very grateful, but also a little bit confused. So if you're one of those people, huge thank you to you. If you are new and you're not yet subscribed, please consider liking and subscribing and doing all those things that I never normally ask you to do, because you'll either watch or you won't. It's kind of my philosophy. And if I'm not your type of person, that's fine. There's other people out there who are not me who might be. There's plenty to go around for everybody. Something to suit everybody's tastes. But for those of you who have subscribed, I want to do a little thank you. I'm trying to avoid particular words that bots might pick up on. So, when I went to the Southern Wool Show back in the beginning of September, Hayley from Ducky Darlings very, very kindly allowed me to choose a skein of yarn to take away to use on such an occasion. I'm trying, my brain is whirring, trying not to say the words that I think you know. So, this is the yarn that I chose. It's called Sunrise, and I thought it was lovely autumnal colours. And I'm going to add to it this mini skein, which doesn't have a name, but I thought goes with it really nicely if you wanted to make socks or anything really that you wanted a mini skein. So if you would like these, to receive these as your thank you from me, what I'd like you to do is be a subscriber. You have to be subscribed because this is what the thank you is all about. And I will check, I have on my thing the name that I cannot channel, I don't know, but I can see who's subscribed. So if you are a subscriber, please make sure you're a public subscriber, otherwise I can't see it's you, and then you won't be able to receive the thank you. What I'd like you to do, aside from being a public subscriber, words today are not my friend, is comment below, and all the usual questions have been done. How long have you been knitting? Who taught you to knit? What's your favourite thing to knit? They've all been done to death. So I thought something completely out of the blue is, when you were a child, what was your ambition? What did you want to be when you grew up? I wanted to be an opera singer, first of all, because I was a bridesmaid at my aunt and uncle's wedding, and one of their friends sang, and it was the first time I'd ever heard anybody sing live in public, other than like during the church congregation, but you know, a soloist. It was the first time I'd ever heard that, and I thought she was amazing, and I wanted to do that. And I never realised my ambition, but I did. I have sung in several choirs. I've even sung solo, but I hate it because I don't like the attention to be on me. My throat tightens up, I can't reach the notes. I don't think I could ever have made it. as an opera singer had that been available to me. And then I wanted to be a nurse, and that I did achieve that ambition. And then later, when I learned to drive, I wanted to be a driving instructor, and I achieved that ambition as well. And most of all, I wanted to be a wife and a mother, and I achieved both of those things. So I've been very, very lucky in my life to have realised most of my ambitions, if not quite all. So I thought it'd be interesting to know what your ambitions were as a child. Did you get there? Did you change? Did you think I would love to be a doctor and then discover that you just faint at the sight of blood? I'm nosy and I thought that would be interesting. So if you would like to receive this thank you, subscribe publicly and let me know down below your childhood ambitions and whether you made it. And I will draw that probably on the next podcast. I will only announce the person who will receive the thank you on the podcast. I won't comment under your comment. I won't contact you directly. You will have to watch the podcast to see if you've been chosen to receive the thank you. Holy moly, this is hard. This is like that game. There was a radio show. I can't remember what it was called. But they used to have to talk for a minute without repeating themselves and without saying a particular word. This is a bit like that, although I am allowed to repeat myself. So yeah, so now you know what to do. It will be on the next podcast. I don't know when that will be. Might be next week. It depends how things go. As I say, things have been pretty darn stressful the last couple of weeks. Pardon me. And I've been very tired, and I've been not very talkative, and I've been seeking the solace of my own company a lot. So if you don't see me, don't worry. I'm just chilling, basically. But I am feeling a lot better in various respects. So it may well be next week. It might be the week after. But if you're subscribed and if you've clicked the little bell, you'll know when it is because you'll get a notification. So, right, that was all I had to tell you apart from the shop update. So if that's not what you're here to see, then that's fine. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you so much for sitting through all my waffling and nonsense and mad colour choices and everything else for the last nearly 3 years. And yeah, I look forward to hearing what you wanted to do when you were a child. So, shop update. The shop update will be tonight, if you're watching this on the 1st of November. It will be on the 1st of November, and it will be the last one of the year. So the Year of Yarn for November and December are both going in. The shop will be closing for the year on the 3rd of December. The reason for that being, I do not want yarn getting lost in all the Christmas post. So I'm aware that people don't necessarily have funds free at this time of year. If you would like the December colourway, but you haven't got a chance to buy it before December and the shop will be closed over December, I will probably leave it in the shop until the end of January, so you have got a chance to catch up with it after Christmas. Other than that, I don't think there's anything important I need to tell you about the shop. So, would you like to see what yarn's going in? First of all, there's the Year of Yarn for November. And this was kind of inspired by bonfires. It's oranges, corally reds, yellow and black. That's the Year of Yarn for November. The year of yarn for December, I've gone with the traditional red and green, which according to my mother should never be seen, but it is allowed at Christmas. So this, I'll show it to you because of the way I've dyed it. It will, if you're knitting socks, it will probably flash, pool, whatever you call it. But I wanted to leave that. I had to have the white in there. So it's red, green and white. The way it pulls might look quite nice because it should kind of, if I've worked it out correctly, it should sort of spiral up your sock. Excuse me, this is not very attractive. Yeah, it should spiral up your sock and be kind of candy cane-ish, I hope. But it probably depends on your tension and your stitch count and all of that sort of thing. So be aware, it's not going to self-stripe, it will spiral. Okay, those are the 2 year of yarns and they're both going into the shop on the 1st. This is a new one. There are only 3 of these. There are some limited editions. Actually, there's only 2 of these now. In the Ko-fi shop, there is the opportunity to be a monthly subscriber. There are various benefits to being a monthly subscriber, one of which is an Instagram group that is private for subscribers only, where you get a preview of yarn, and so some of these have been snapped up by members before the shop update. So there are 2 of these going into the shop. They are they're called Dolly Mixture, and they're different colours. There's kind of pale lavendery grey with flashes of brighter and neon in between. The others that I'm going to show you are mini sets, and again they are limited. So this one, they are sets of 5, and this is Yuletide. So there's 2 greens and then a couple of sort of pale camely colours, and then a mushroom. Yuletide, for those of us who don't necessarily want everything Christmassy. There's Sugar Plum, where you have, actually let's arrange it that way, you've got 3 different purples, sort of a pale, slightly darker, slightly pinker, a sort of a lavender grey and a peachy colour. That's Sugar Plum. Then there are 2 Christmassy colourway types. There is this one, and this one is Vintage Christmas. So you've got 2 different greens that aren't coming out terribly well. There's sort of a grey green, a brighter green, white and 2 reds. Brighter corally red and a darker red. And then there is, this is just called Festive. So this is a corally red, a very, very pale grey, a greyish green, a burgundy winey kind of red, and grey, darker grey. All of the mini sets are also available. The mini sets, hang on, let me make this make sense in my brain before I say it. Right, the mini sets are limited edition, but they are available on a dyed to order basis as full skein sets. So if, for example, you wanted to knit yourself a Christmas sweater and you thought, these are the 5 colours I want, they are available as a 500 gram skein set also, but they will be dyed to order. Is that everything? Oh, there is one more colourway that I don't actually have one to show you because I only had one sample and somebody bought it and it's gone out in the post. So I'm going to put a picture of this one here. This one is called Robin. And again, that's on the dyed to order basis. So that's everything. It's a small update this month, because as I say, things have been stressful. And I don't want to be posting stuff out to get stuck in Christmas mail. I don't think I've recovered from the trauma of the beginning of the year with the postal strikes and everything, and just the terror of sending my yarn babies out into the world, not knowing if they were going to reach their destination or live forever in a warehouse because they'd fallen down the back of something. So yeah, I'm a little bit overprotective of the yarn babies at the moment. Right then, what time is it? Time I shut up. I'm going to go. I will see you possibly next week, if not the week after. And I hope that you are all well, that you are all safe from various mad weather conditions that are going on, and conflicts and everything else horrible that's happening in the world. I just wish peace and nitty happiness to everybody. Okay, I'm going to go. Messages keep flashing up on my screen. The ladies are zooming and I need to go. I can possibly get half an hour in before I have to take Ewan out. So I'm going to go. Literally, I am actually going this time. I know I keep saying it, but I'm going. And I will see you all later. Bye, guys. Oh, and happy Halloween.